In the fabric of youth, dreams are the vibrant threads that weave a future full of promises. Yet, when those dreams unravel, they can morph into the shadows of nightmares. Such was the journey of Sergio Martinez, who spent his youth aspiring to excel as a cyclist and soccer player. Fate, however, had other plans, as an unfortunate leg injury dashed his hopes. At the age of 20, Sergio turned to boxing, a sport he embraced with devotion. And by 22, he had ascended to the professional ranks. Martinez's tale is one of resilience and reinvention, a narrative of embracing a new path later in life and confronting challenges head on. His 3 career losses were against world champions. The first and early setback came against the seasoned Antonio Margarito. The second was a controversial split decision against the most feared man of the division, Paul the Punisher Williams, a defeat he avenged spectacularly 2 fights later by flattening Williams in just 2 rounds. His final loss was a bout against Miguel Cotto at the tail end of his career, which occurred when Sergio was battling knee injuries. A 2-division world champion, Sergio Martinez's crowning achievement came when he dethroned Kelly Pavlik, handing him his only defeat at middleweight and claiming the Lineal and Unified Middleweight Championship. He held this title for an impressive 4 years, defending it successfully 6 times. His 50-month reign ranks as one of the longest in the division's history. During this period, Martinez was recognized as the 3rd best pound-for-pound fighter globally, trailing only behind the legendary Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. His story is a testament to the power of perseverance and the ability to rise above adversity to achieve greatness. Maravilla was as distinctive as the style he brought to the ring. His early pursuits in cycling and soccer left an indelible mark on his boxing style, infusing it with athleticism and dynamic movement. Sergio Martinez was the epitome of a slickster. As a southpaw, he embraced an unconventional approach, often keeping his hands low, which added an element of surprise. His left hand, precise and deceptive, was a hidden weapon that caught many opponents off guard. Martinez's greatest asset was undoubtedly his footwork, the very heartbeat to his fighting style. Movement was his mantra, the beginning and end of every maneuver. Against punchers, he was a living nightmare. How can you land a blow when you can't catch the rabbit? His elusive nature stemmed from his incredible foot speed, allowing him to dance laterally and fight defensively on his back foot. It was a game of cat and mouse, but if you couldn't catch the mouse, he'd transform to a cobra, striking with venom. A true master of range, he constantly shifted distances, darting in and out with explosive agility. His opponents were left bewildered. If they pressed him, he countered off his back foot. If they attempted to corner him, he shifted laterally. There was no direction he could navigate, making him a rabbit out the hat.
He can pretty much keep this up for
light heavyweight, and I would not be surprised if
cutting off the ring so far. Martinez marking up the face a little of Chavez Jr.
His perpetual motion left punchers struggling to plant the feet, disrupting the rhythm and making it nearly impossible for them to follow up with combinations. He was a master of unpredictability. One moment he was a blur of movement, the next a striking. Within the confines of the ring, he transformed the space into an open field, utilizing every inch to confound his opponents. This often led to them throwing punches out of desperation. Unable to find a mark, his rhythm was a puzzle, difficult to decipher due to his ever-shifting foot placements. With blitzing speed, he could explode from any position, launching attacks with such suddenness that his opponents were left guessing whether he was poised to defend or counter.
you could have an even round where, it would be 10-10, but some...
The left hand is still just raising him, just barely missing, and the more fatigue that sets in, frequent. Or Paul Williams.
And now Martinez fires 3 more right hooks. And
Martinez's ability to fight with his hands low was a testament to his mastery of range manipulation, and most crucially, his impeccable head movement. What appeared to be a lack of defense was in reality a labyrinth of deceptive layers, These layers compose a shift in range and level changes, turning the ring into a complex maze for his opponents. By sticking his head out, he seemed to offer an easy target, but it was anything but. His forward hips allowed him to evade with feline agility, a style heavily reliant on his cat-like reflexes, reacting instinctively to incoming threats. The low hands and extended head were the true bait. Opponents found themselves swinging at shadows, growing increasingly frustrated as they failed to connect with what seemed right in front of them. As they struggled to solve this intricate puzzle, Martinez would strike, exploiting the confusion with precision.
And this is what he wants to do, Jaime. He wants to keep him in the corner. He wants to keep him busy. He wants to
repeats the doses from Martinez. Quick left uppercut.
The low hands and extended head were the ultimate bait and switch, a cunning setup designed for pull counters. Opponents drawn to the seemingly exposed target quickly discovered it was a clever trap, luring them into Martinez's counters. The strategic deception was what made him truly dangerous. With counters always at play, his adversaries were left second-guessing their every move, unsure of when or where to strike. Martinez excelled at dictating the rhythm of the fight, positioning himself to snipe from the outside. It was all an elaborate mind game, compelling opponents to overthink and hesitate, an ill fit for a fast-paced world of boxing, where reflexes, muscle memory, and instincts reign supreme. In the ring, if you're thinking, you're not punching, and if you're not punching, you're most likely getting hit.
They each scored a knockdown. Martinez.
A southpaw versus orthodox matchup often evolves into an awkward duel of jabs, as the mirrored lead hands create a direct barrier between the fighters. However, Martinez's jab was a different story entirely. With his extensive lateral movement, he crafted angles that allowed him to step into his jab with accuracy. His low hand position and forward hunch transformed his jab into a shovel jab, launching it from beneath his opponent's line of sight, and effectively striking from a blind side. This made timing his jab a daunting challenge, as opponents struggled to read any telegraph signals. His herky-jerky movements, feints, and agile footwork added layers of disguise to his jab.
His jab and hook hand with the cross-sectioning
body belt. We all know he's the middleweight champion of the world.
And you gotta give him credit for that.
For Martinez, the jab was crucial, bridging the gaps between his movements and disrupting his opponent's rhythm. Just as they focused on positioning, they would find a jab in the face, forcing them to reset. Martinez kept his jab pumping like a piston, before, after, and even during his opponent's punches, constantly breaking the rhythm and hindering the offensive efforts.
Be expending a lot of energy in doing his...
Well, that's a given within their fighting styles. I think Martinez's style is particularly exhausting.
Maravilla kept his punches elegantly simple, often relying on a classic jab cross hook. The simplicity was key, as the seamless flow of these punches allowed him to explode in and out, even while on the move. His combinations were never overly complex, perfectly complementing his hit-and-run tactics. The lead right hook and left cross were his secret weapons, enabling him to slip around or pierce through the opponent's guard. Martinez possessed incredible hand speed, blitzing his opponents with blinding quickness that left them struggling to defend. Adding to his powerful legs provided an extra boost as he launched into his punches. He struck with the precision and swiftness of a cobra, bridging the gap from the outside with his explosive energy. When Martinez found his rhythm, disrupting it was a daunting task. His speed was complemented by exceptional conditioning, allowing him to constantly move in and blitz in and out with rapid combinations. Keeping up with his relentless pace was a challenge, as he frequently overwhelmed his opponent's guard. In his prime, with healthy knees, Martinez's style was one of the toughest to contend against. His movement was ceaseless, as were his punches, making it nearly impossible to cut off the ring or set your feet to punch. He could fight effectively in any direction and was always a threat with counters, beating you to every punch. It was a unique and tricky style rarely ever seen executed so flawlessly at the championship level. Starting his career later than most, Martinez's style relied heavily on exceptional athleticism and reflexes. It's intriguing to imagine how much greater he would have been with the muscle memory and training that came from a deep amateur pedigree. It wasn't until his legs and reflexes began to wind that he started to appear more mortal in the ring. Nonetheless, Martinez will be remembered as one of the top 5 greatest Argentine boxers of all time.